about issues in
Okay, so let's get going. Mary Ellen, one, two, three.
yes. Welcome, everybody. I'm Mary Ellen Miller, and I'm chair of the League of Women Voters, Upper Mississippi River Region, ILO. We cover 5 states: Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois. That means that we represent 10,000 League of Women Voters members in that 5-state area. We are the watershed for the Upper Mississippi River region, and our focus is advocating for the river, improving water quality, especially drinking water in the watershed. I'm going to turn the introduction to our speaker today over to Judy Foster. Judy represents the local league that help us connect with our speaker. Welcome, Judy Foster.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to introduce Tracy. I've heard her speak a couple times before, and she's a wonderful presenter. She earned a degree in aquatic biology from St. Cloud State University in 2000. She began her career with the city in 2001 as a laboratory technician. She was promoted to Utilities Water Quality Coordinator in 2003 and to Assistant Public Utilities Director in 2006. In November of 2019, Tracy was appointed St. Cloud's Public Services Director. So she's had quite a career in St. Cloud. She's certified in water and wastewater operations. She's also certified in Envision Sustainability, which focuses on implementing sustainability in infrastructure projects. Providing innovative, high-quality, cost-effective public services to the City of St. Cloud's residents and customers is a key driver for Tracy's current role as Public Services Director for the City of St. Cloud. In recent years, the City of St. Cloud has taken a national and global leadership role in sustainability efforts due to city staff's efforts. Tracy is leading this initiative and advocates for being big and bold with ideas, being brave enough to implement them, and never underestimating the impact of small actions. Taking action is a critical key to learning and success. So again, as I said, I've seen Tracy give presentations before, and she's wonderful. And so let us welcome Tracy Hodel.
Welcome, Tracy, and thank you, Judy, for that introduction. I neglected to mention that Judy Foster is a member of the League of Women Voters of St. Cloud, and
Correct,
we really
yes.
appreciate her finding Tracy. A reminder to put your questions in the Q&A, and we will let Tracy give her presentation, and then we'll run through your questions afterwards. This will be recorded. It will be put on UMR's website. You will receive an announcement of that recording that you can share with other league members. Tracy, I'm going to turn it over to you. Judy and I are going to turn off our cameras and mute ourselves.
All right. Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I am very, very excited and happy and appreciate the invitation to speak today to this wonderful group here. And Mary Ellen was just talking a little bit more about the background and how long she's been with it, with this organization, and kind of the dedication to the Mississippi River. And as she mentioned, there's a lot of areas that are within the watershed of the Mississippi River. And in St. Cloud, we are actually the first drinking water treatment facility that takes water from the Mississippi River and generates clean drinking water for our residents in our area. So today I'm really going to focus on, and I'm going to work on getting the presentation up here. I'm going to really focus on what our energy story has been in St. Cloud here, kind of the things that we've been working on, and also I'm going to visualize this here down here. There you go. Perfect. And just kind of talk about kind of what we're doing and the work that we're doing and how it's impacting our community and how it's creating a cleaner future for us all. So first, And I apologize to Judy because she's probably seen this picture. I show this picture quite a bit when I am sharing a background on myself. So Judy shared a background on kind of my professional history and my career thus far. And I kind of want to take you back a little bit further of where this passion for what I do comes from. And really, I have to credit it to my ninth grade biology teacher, who really noticed the excitement that I had in working in this area and working on projects like this. And I have a picture of a Daphnia magna, or what's commonly known as a water flea, on the screen here, because that is kind of like, everyone has spirit animals. That's my spirit animal. That is the organism we were studying at the time that my 8th grade science teacher, or 9th grade biology teacher, was like, noticed the excitement that I had when we were studying this organism, and was just in awe of what was around us in the environment to make this a better place. And that's kind of what drives me, and what drives me to do the work that I am in and the field that I am in. So what I'm going to talk about today, again, is kind of our St. Cloud energy story, talk about our goals, how did we achieve the goals that we did achieve, what are our new goals, talk about some really exciting renewable energy projects that we've started and are going to be working on into the future. And I'll leave plenty of time at the end for questions and answers. Now, I do have 3 little short video clips in here. I did practice this earlier with Gretchen, and hopefully that'll work out here. But this very short, less than 2-minute type videos to kind of show and provide a summary of what we're doing here. So St. Cloud's energy story. This is a lot going on one slide here, but just kind of gives you a good overview of all the work that we've been doing. And we really have been doing energy work for quite some time, but in 2014, we really enhanced that to the next level. We worked on energy efficiency, as any community and any resident and any business owner should do. You should always be focusing on what you can prevent from using as far as kilowatt hours of electricity and heat use and energy use reduction there. We jumped on the solar wagon pretty early on, which was great for our community because we're able to get some great benefits, and we're really seeing those benefits now that it's been about 8 years since we started our first solar project. And then we have our community energy plan. We worked with our utility provider, and then worked with so many different stakeholders in our community, such as our hospital. We have a very large hospital in our area, our healthcare system, small businesses, residential areas, larger businesses, industrial field and in businesses as well, and kind of created a community energy action plan. We started biofuel production, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit, at our wastewater treatment facility, which is really one of the nation's leading facility as far as resource recovery comes in the use of renewable energy. We're doing some things past energy. We're making these great biofertilizer products, and then talk about some of our really interesting public-private partnerships. And then into the future, we've just got a significant amount of projects that we're going to be working on that's going to be first of its kind. In fact, the one that I'll be talking about will be the first of its kind in the world. And looking at some other innovative ways to not only be more sustainable, but also save money and be fiscally responsible for the work that and the services that we provide. So back in 2015, we created these goals. We wanted to have 25% of our electrical energy come from renewable energy sources. We thought at that time, 25% by 2020 was going to be a very difficult goal to meet, because we were essentially at 0% in 2015. And going into 2035, we're like, okay, let's be really aggressive and have 75% of our electrical energy to provide city services come from renewable energy sources. At the time, we again thought that these were pretty aggressive goals. And once we started working on them right in 2015 and started figuring out a plan and a map and how we were going to meet those goals, we actually exceeded those goals, because by 2020, 100% of our electricity for providing city services has come from renewable energy sources. And that's from several different on-site solar, our biofuel that we have at our treatment facility, our community solar garden subscriptions. So you can see we went from 0% in 2015, and by 2020, we're at 100%. So with that, we're like, okay, now what should our community do? What do we want to work towards? And so in 2022, our Mayor Dave Kleiss, created new goals for us. And so by 2020, we're already carbon neutral for our energy use on the electrical side. And what we expanded it to is, so 2028, we want to be carbon neutral, not just for our city and the services we provide, but our entire community. And 2038 is really aggressive goal, because not only do we want to be carbon neutral with the electrical use, we want to be carbon neutral for our transportation, so energy use as far as building energy use, so the heating sector. And I think all of you here know how difficult that is to decarbonize. And I know, and we know that these are very, very aggressive goals. However, we didn't think we were going to meet those goals back in 2015 that we set. And so we are strong believers of having a very strong, talking about that big and bold piece, right? Like, be big and bold and have a strong vision for where your community and what your organization wants to do. So these are our new goals. One of the things that have helped us, and I think will help us meet our new aggressive goals, is kind of how we're diversifying where our renewable energy sources are coming from. We have hydro, we have solar, and it's not just community solar gardens or on-site solar. It's different programs, it's different systems. So it's multiple different ways of accomplishing these renewable energy sources and generation. And then we have the biofuel recovery, and then we're working on our green hydrogen project that I'll be talking about shortly here. So for those that don't know, in St. Cloud, Minnesota here, we have a hydroelectric generation facility on the Mississippi River. So we're able to generate quite a bit of electricity at this site that's been up and running since 1988. And creates enough electricity to power about 7,000 homes in a year. So when you incorporate hydro into our percentage numbers, we're actually closer to 300% renewable because of the power generation we're able to achieve at this facility. And we have multiple on-site solar arrays as well. So a lot of our municipal buildings, and unfortunately not a lot of people can see them because a lot of them are rooftop. We have them at our Whitney Senior Center. We have them at our drinking water treatment facility, our public works building, our police building, our fire stations. These are our two biggest ones on our aquatic center and on our library. So large energy users here that we're able to get a significant amount of renewable energy from the sun for those locations. And then going back, I kind of started citywide and where we are with goals, but I want to go back to our wastewater treatment facility. And this is a quick video. I'm not sure how many people have been at a treatment facility before, but this facility here is owned and operated by the city of St. Cloud, but we provide regional services to 6 other communities. So their wastewater comes to this facility as well. So this is an aerial of our facility. This is a little bit older. It doesn't have our newer solar arrays on here yet. But this is a community solar garden in the back. A lot of people think it's a little lake. We do have the river in the back and you'll see that. So I'm going to play this video and shoot me a message if you can't hear it. Well, this is actually just music, so I can talk through what you're looking at here. So this is our headworks building. So all the used water goes through pretreatment settling here. And then this is kind of where the magic happens. This is where we add air, oxygen to the microorganisms, and they break down the material and create a clear liquid water that goes to the Mississippi River. And that's our finals where we have settling. And then the water goes over the weirs. These are closed weirs. It is disinfected. And then it is released to the Mississippi River. So we have a 3/4 mile long outfall pipe that goes into the Mississippi River. And not only is our treatment facility an energy leader, as far as nutrient removal, we are, treating that water where it is very, very low in concentrations of any solids or any sort of pollutants of that level. This is our solids generation area and treatment area. So this is where we're creating the biofuel. This is the biofuel membrane. So we have the gas inside here. Oops, pause here. And then this is the building where we're creating, this is when we're under construction for this project where we're creating the biofertilizers out of the used water as well. And then we have a liquid biosolids product that I'll talk a little bit more about here. And we apply that to area fields, area farmers. It has a significant amount of nutrients in it. So that's a quick overview, a quick tour of a wastewater treatment facility for those that have not been to one. But I highly recommend, if you are in a community that has a treatment facility like this, to check it out and tour it, because they do amazing things at these facilities. Pop to the next slide here. So this is kind of an overview of what we've been doing at our treatment facility. And I think it's amazing where these facilities that usually are not thought about or people don't like to talk about can make such a big impact on your community. And what we've done here at this facility has been quite amazing in a short period of time. Again, like I talked about earlier, we hit energy efficiency. We added the very first city installed on-site solar is this little, what we call our baby solar. So this is like our practice or our mini project that we learned from and expanded and then built more solar arrays after that. And then in 2017, we had our first generator on site. In 2020, we added the second generator, we added the membrane storage, and we added the nutrient recovery piece to this facility. I talk about this quite a bit, and I think, again, that's one thing that people don't understand or underestimate sometimes, the amount of energy that is in that used water that gets flushed or gets hauled to our treatment facility for processing. So I recently did, for those, and I don't know if anybody knew, but it just actually got released on Monday. I did a TED Talk, and one of the things I focused on during the TED Talk is just how people should really understand that being uncomfortable or thinking about topics that might make you uncomfortable could really, if you are able to stretch yourself and be okay with that, you can really capitalize on the potential there, because obviously a lot of people don't like talking about this type of topic, but the impact that it can have is pretty substantial. And so I strongly encouraged everyone during that talk, to understand that. And that's why I say go visit these facilities, because what these facilities can do is pretty phenomenal as far as your community impacts and so forth. This video here shows a quick overview of how the energy is generated from what is flushed.
The city of St. Cloud treats wastewater for over 120,000 people in 6 cities. The facility treats over 10 million gallons of used water every day. A tremendous amount of energy is contained within the used water and is recovered and converted to electrical energy. Waste solids are heat treated using a process called anaerobic digestion. This provides great opportunities for the city of St. Cloud. In this digestion process, solids are broken down by helpful bacteria in large tanks at high temperatures. The bacteria produce a biofuel in the form of gas. This biofuel is cleaned and used in generators to create electricity that will be used on site. The excess heat produced by the generators is used to heat the digesters that create the biofuel. To generate more biofuel, St. Cloud receives byproducts from industries such as breweries and food processing facilities. St. Cloud is converting what was historically a waste into a valuable resource, reducing the cost to treat used water. Good for the environment and good for the pocketbook.
So that was just a great little video that we were able to get grant funds through the Minnesota Department of Commerce to provide a general overview of how we're generating that power from that used water. So we talked a lot about, okay, so how and now what is it doing for our community? And that's one thing when we started working on these projects that we did not fully understand or realize the potential impact that these projects can have on our community. So we are able to take in hauled high strength waste from facilities that would either have to pay a lot more or have to haul it a longer way. So they have more emissions associated with that. So more costs, more emissions, where we can take that product and create energy from it and not cost a lot of money or a lot of resources, a lot of energy to create that power. And so we were able to partner with quite a few local industries, and they're able to reduce all their operating costs. They were able to, for example, one of the breweries we worked with in our region was able to quadruple the size of their production because we were able to take and create energy with the waste. Otherwise, they would have had to build like a $30 million treatment facility to be able to handle the waste product from their new product. So we have really been able to capture on that. We're also increasing our revenue base and our customer base for the city. So we'd have that revenue coming in to replace equipment that's failing and things like that. So it's really been a substantial. Another example is that second generator I showed earlier there in 2020 was a private public partnership. So that entity ended up paying for part of that capital. So our residents and our ratepayers did not have to pay for that, but they're benefiting from the energy being generated because of the cost savings and the environmental benefits from that. So not only, like I'd mentioned, not only are we doing energy related work on the sustainability side, but we're also generating some really great biofertilizer products. So this is kind of the Ostera process that we're creating a crystal product. And then we're also having a liquid product. In this video here, we'll show you. I'm going to go to the next one because this one should work. There we
Earth's
go.
most important elements are oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, and phosphorus. Yes, phosphorus. It's commonly found in fertilizers and is essential in the production of the food we eat. Phosphorus is necessary for all life, including people. It's vital to our growth process. For example, phosphorus is critical for maintaining strong bones and teeth. Without phosphorus, we can't produce food. Phosphorus is as essential as water or oxygen. Farmers apply fertilizers that contain phosphorus and other nutrients to grow healthy food. The phosphorus in these fertilizers has been typically obtained through mining. Phosphorus is not renewable, and mineable phosphorus takes millions of years to form. Estimates show that we have less than 90 years of mineable phosphorus left on the planet. We send phosphorus-rich water down our drains every day. The phosphorus comes from food scraps, detergents, cleaners, and excess phosphorus is flushed after we use the bathroom. What if we could recover phosphorus from what we flush every day instead of through mining? That's exactly what we're doing at the treatment facility in St. Cloud, Minnesota. St. Cloud is using an innovative process to recover phosphorus and other nutrients from wastewater. Phosphorus, ammonia, and magnesium, all from wastewater, are used to create a product called struvite. Struvite is an important part of fertilizer used by farmers. St. Cloud is able to recover more than 100 tons of struvite a year. This is enough to provide the phosphorus required to grow more than 5,000 acres of wheat. Reducing the amount of phosphorus going into our waterways can prevent other water quality problems, such as algae blooms that turn our waters green and harm fish. St. Cloud is recovering phosphorus and ensuring it is used where it's needed. The result? Helping farmers grow our food and ensure healthy waters.
So that project was that struvite recovery or phosphorus recovery project was another example of, we're the only facility in the state of Minnesota that's recovering phosphorus in that way versus the mining that they talked about in this little video here. And one of the very few in the nation, actually, and we're one of the first to do the installations in the nation here. So in addition to the crystal product, we generate a substantial amount, about 4 million gallons or so of liquid product that we inject into the farm fields. So this is an example of what our injection equipment look like, and we're able to provide that fertilizer product to the farmers for free. And it has a significant amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium into it. So as you can imagine, we do have a lot of farmers that are interested in the product. This is what our future looks like. So we have additional solar that we're working on. This little blue box here is going to be the location for our new electrolyzer that I'm going to talk about here. And then we're looking at adding renewable natural gas to this facility. So our big project, our green hydrogen project that we're working on right now is simply, it sounds electrolysis, it sounds really technical and difficult and hard to do, but actually it's a really simple process. It's really just breaking down a water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen, and through that process, you send electric current through it. Through that process, you generate some excess heat. So our plan is to generate all three of these byproducts and use it at the treatment facility. And the key here is we'll be generating that through renewable energy. So we'll be using renewable energy to power the electrolyzer and really be focusing on all that excess that sometimes we have to taper down if our demand is low for solar, or we have a lot of biogas being produced. So it's a lot of that excess renewable energy that will go towards this electrolyzer, so we don't have to waste it. Otherwise, we have to flare the gas, or we just ramp down our solar and we miss out on that energy production. So it will be green. And a lot of people have concerns of on the water side, well, does that take a lot of water, especially in areas that, you know, water is not readily available as it is in Minnesota, but it really does not take a lot of water. And to put that in perspective, you know, just with about 400 gallons, what it takes to fill a hot tub, it can generate, the electrolyzer can generate enough hydrogen gas to power an average American home for an entire year. So it's really, really low in the water requirements to generate that amount of power. And hydrogen is just dense. It's extremely dense. It's about 4 times more dense than diesel fuel. So our project here will be the first in the world for a project that will use all end products. So the hydrogen, the oxygen, the waste heat. So we'll be the first treatment facility in the world to have this project up and running. And I think what's really neat, kind of going back to our goals, and we talked about by 2030 being carbon neutral for our entire community in the transportation and heating sector, I think hydrogen plays a key role in that, because you can make a bigger impact. It's not just about decarbonizing your treatment facility, it's decarbonizing your whole entire community, because that hydrogen fuel can be used. Hydrogen gas can be used as a fuel source. In fact, we're working with our public transit system. We're working with it's New Flyer bus manufacturer, who actually just manufactures buses just south of our facility. And they are bringing hydrogen fuel cell manufacturing to St. Cloud, and they're planning to be up and running in fall of 2024 to provide another, because they're getting a lot of demand for the hydrogen fuel cell buses. And then we can also use heating. So you can inject that hydrogen fuel right into the natural gas pipeline. Up to 20% is what the utility provider can take at this time. So it's really exciting that something that is being generated at a treatment facility can be used beyond, just in different ways and in different end uses beyond the treatment facility itself for your communities. What does our future look like? Like I said, we're working on that green hydrogen project. We're just wrapping up the final details. We applied for a United States Department of Energy grant, about $3.7 million, to help us kickstart this project. We also received some funds from LCCMR from the state of Minnesota early on. And other projects that we're working on, we were able to get a carbon reduction grant. So we're adding some new EV charging stations in St. Cloud. We're decarbonizing. We bought 2 CNG refuge trucks, and we're really hoping that's what's exciting too with the public transit. They already have CNG buses. So to actually move and convert the use from CNG to green hydrogen is not a complicated process. It's just both a combustion process. So we're hoping that in the future, we're able to power a lot of our city fleet vehicles and use the hydrogen fuel or CNG as well. Working on some exciting carbon capture projects, and always looking at ways to do community engagement and education and get the word out there to talk to other communities and learn from them. We're working across the world. We're actually talking with Northern Ireland right now on a related project. We work really intensely with University of North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany. So working across the entire world on learning from them, and they learn things from us. So it's just a great partnership. A lot of people ask kind of how we're able to get as much projects and things done in such a short period of time. And we really feel like these are some of our keys to success that we share with other communities and other organizations that, you know, we really think energy tracking is extremely important. You can't manage what you don't measure, and you really have to get a good grasp on what you're using, what your organization is using, what your home is using, wherever you may be, to be able to identify any energy efficiency opportunities or renewable energy opportunities. It's very important to get your city administration, your council, community support. We're lucky in St. Cloud, Minnesota, that we have a strong support from all of those areas. Again, going back to my big, bold, make sure that you're okay with taking some educated risks, right? Like our solar program, we did so much research before we tied on to any or signed on to any agreements. We looked across the world. We looked across other states that are leading the way to make sure that the choices and the direction, the projects that we're working on will be successful and will have a positive impact on our residents and our ratepayers and our property taxpayers. And then just be willing to implement those. Sometimes it's a lot of talk, but action is so important. That's why I talk about small actions. Just one little call to somebody or one little trial that you do or one little action that you do can create such great things that you didn't even think were possible, but just taking those small steps, it seems unbelievable, but taking those small steps will get you there. The other thing we talk about with communities is always think long-term. You know, some people really look at the payback in a 2 or 3 year period, but you really got to look longer than that, especially for community-wide type goals. Diversify. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket. You really need to look at all these other, the energy market is so volatile right now. You all understand that and know that. When the spikes that we have seen in the last 3 years has just been huge, just substantial, you know, especially when you look at natural gas and things that you thought, oh, that's really low, we don't need to think about that. And then all of a sudden our natural gas bills quadrupled in just a 6-month period. The other thing we really look at is innovative financing. So we've been researching performance contracting, private-public partnerships, just all these different opportunities out there to bring the cost down. Looking at grants, we definitely look at grants as well. And then talked about earlier about having a strong vision and aggressive goals, because even if they do seem aggressive to you at the time that you set them, as long as you have that vision and you have those goals, you're looking at them, you're making progress towards those, and that's all a positive thing. And then that progress and success will build upon each other and just keep growing and growing. And then collaborative partnerships, we talked about that. All of our local businesses and our other organizations and agencies that we work with, people from across the world and different countries that we work with. And honestly, I think the biggest thing is you got to have a team that is passionate about what they do, about how they do that, because our team that we have in our city is just within our city is just amazing. They always are thinking outside of the box and what else can we do and do the work. And I never have any concerns that if there's a roadblock in the way that our team can address that and get through any of those roadblocks. So that is actually huge. And I give a lot of credit to our team. We get asked this question a lot too, and why do we go green? And a lot of people think that going green is more expensive and it's going to cost more and this project will cost more. So you get a lot of kickback from that. And from what we've experienced, and since 2016, when we had our first solar project, and in 2017, our biofuel project, all of them have actually saved more money than what we even initially calculated during like our performance contracting. So that is huge. So in our history and our experience, greener is cheaper for us. So it helps stabilize our tax rates. It helps stabilizes our user rates. Of course, it helps meet our energy goals. It provides another revenue source on the high strength waste side of things, creates a ton of jobs, we're able to have some of those savings and use that as an energy fund. So that helps pay for future sustainability projects. And like I mentioned earlier, I think it's very phenomenal the amount of regional economic impact that we're having. So it's just a full circle of benefits that I don't think a lot of people think about when they're evaluating to work on these type of projects or jump into these projects or not. So we've been very successful projects, and we built upon those successes and just grew and grew and are growing our our goals and where we want to go. So it's been a really fun ride, and really looking forward to the future and the projects that we have forthcoming, and looking forward to learning from others, with sharing with others, sharing our lessons with others, and continuing with kind of being big and bold, and being a global leader in energy and the sustainability world. Because you see this big, beautiful body of water here, the Mississippi River. A lot of our work that we do on the drinking water side and on the stormwater side and on the wastewater side is to protect the integrity of that river. And a lot of the work that we do is helping do just that. So I wanted to leave enough time for questions here, and I think we're doing okay on time. Yeah, here we are, 40 minutes in here. So I will stop sharing my screen and open it up to any questions that anybody has.
Thank you, Tracy. I know that was a whirlwind tour de force of your slides, and we do have many, many, many questions. So
Okay, let's do it.
we're going to roll through these real fast, but I want to also say, if you've got questions, put them in the Q&A. Please do not put them in the chat. And just a reminder, the Q&A has included our recording, so everyone who's on this call will get that recording. I'm really enthused about this. Do you have a packet of how-to advice that we could pass on to our local city managers?
You know, I think the best answer to that is kind of looking at those keys that I talked about at the very end, those keys to success. I think those are some really good ones that I would recommend local city managers to review, and look for a exciting team, a passionate team, and doing that energy management piece, and look at the opportunities and create a plan. You know, we have a plan. We have a resource and recovery plan. So start thinking about the possibilities out there.
Would you talk a bit about building the political will to move at such a swift pace to ramp up these programs? How did you rally the funding and the political will to move so decisive? And along with that, I have a question. What is the population of St. Cloud, and where are you on the river for people that don't know?
Great question. I should have started off with that, Mary Ellen. So where we're located, so we're about an hour north of St. Paul, Minneapolis, on the Mississippi River there. So that's our location. Our population for St. Cloud is about 69,000 people. However, we're a regional community because we are far enough away from the Twin Cities. We end up getting about and serving about 200,000 people a day, because people come into our city as a regional community to work, to go to school, to shop, to visit, those type of things. So we actually have a larger service area than what people think. And then our treatment facility actually provides treatment for 6 other cities. So you could expand and include their population. So you're looking around the 300,000 mark of people that, like, our treatment facility provides services for in our city.
Talk about how you garnered the political will.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously you have to have a win-win there. I think you have to be showing that this is a fiscally responsible thing and an environmentally responsible thing. And I think what really got the support on the political side of things is that our projects did save money overall. And that really helped the people that are a little bit more of a naysayer on the sustainability work. They're like, oh, okay, well, that's good. We like that. And if it's a win-win, great. And then everyone seems to be supportive. I feel like there's more of a joint vision there for our team and for our city and for our community. And once you have both of those and you grow upon those, like I talked about earlier, how we're able to keep moving on and moving projects is each project we built upon that success and showed, okay, we did this 20 kW system and that turned out good. So let's go to a 50 and then let's go to a 200. And actually we just signed, our council just approved of a 1 megawatt solar array extension. So we're going to be adding another so we went from this tiny 20 kilowatt system. Now we're going to be building a megawatt system because the work that we've done is shown to be successful.
How does this directly benefit your residents? Does it reduce their taxes? You mentioned that there's a cost savings involved.
Great. So correct. There's an operational savings cost associated with that. So that helps stabilize rates. So had we not had these programs in place and these savings in place, we would have had to raise property taxes to generate the money that we're saving. Because that's your straight up electrical cost savings, your energy, natural gas savings, those type of things. And then the other thing too is, like I talked about with those revenue sources, that revenue sources help keep our wastewater rates low, because we're able to use the revenue coming in from those industries, those tipping fees that are coming in, which is much smaller than what they would have to pay if they didn't come to St. Cloud, but yet that's being used to do equipment replacement. Now we have to do equipment replacement. So had we not gotten that revenue coming in, we would have had to increase rates by that much, which we're getting about $1 million a year in revenue from that. So that's a significant amount, and that would change rates significantly if we didn't have that in place.
You do like an annual report to your residents on those savings? Are they
Yes, we
aware?
do. Yes, we
Okay.
do that, and part
Good.
of our budgeting cycle. So for our city, we have the general fund that's funded primarily by property taxes. And then we have what's called our enterprise fund that is funded through user rates. So we have our own refuse that we provide service for. And we have our streetlight utility, we have our water, our wastewater, and our stormwater. So those are our enterprise funds on our utility bill.
Here's a question from Stephen. Isn't electrolysis expensive? If it's so easy, why aren't we hearing more optimistic views of hydrogen production?
That's a great question, because it is expensive because of the power needed to generate it, right? So right now we're going to be an early adopter and the demand isn't quite there. Once the demand is there, then there will be several more people making electrolyzers and bringing the cost of those units. So I relate that to solar. Solar was so expensive 10 years ago, and it's 100 times cheaper now than it was 10 years ago. And that's what I think electrolyzers are going to be. So what we're really being is the first. We are wanting, like, for example, the hydrogen fuel cell buses that New Flyer is generating, one and manufacture, they're going to be hauling hydrogen fuel from Chicago to St. Cloud until we get our electrolyzer up and running, because with lead time and demands right now, we're looking at 2025 for startup on that system. So I think it's like, you build it, they will come type of thing. And that's why we're applying for grants and those type of things we want to show that we can generate it. And we want to show, once you build it, there's going to be several different off takers. That's what's exciting about hydrogen too, is we have a significant amount of distribution facilities. We have an Amazon, we have a Speedy, we have a FedEx, we have a trucking facility close by. So once they start switching over their fleet to CNG or a hydrogen fuel cell, they'd be able to use our product and our material as well.
Concern a lot of us have about our drinking water today are PFAS.
Yes.
Is the concern in St. Cloud, how do you have a system to take that out of the drinking water? And part of that goes back to, are you redistributing PFAS when you're throwing that fertilizer on the crop fields?
Yeah, so PFAS is definitely a hot topic for our entire world and our nation right now. And we're really proud to be proactive in that area. We have done voluntary sampling. We haven't shown a high numbers meeting any of the thresholds that the federal EPA is estimating to pull out there right now on our drinking water side. And then on the wastewater side, we just started doing sampling. So we're being aggressive in our source reduction. So working with our industries that are generating, because we're not generating it. Our treatment facilities are not generating it. We're receiving it, right? So we're receivers, not generators. So we're really being proactive, working with our industries to cut that out before it comes, because yes, it could very well be in our biosolids that we do apply. It could be in a lot of different sources. One, I didn't bring that up today, but we're going to be leading the way in that area as well, because we're working with a couple agencies and 374 Water. I don't know if anybody has heard about supercritical water oxidation process, which is a way to actually destroy PFAS altogether. So we're going to be partnering with that organization and with multiple schools and University of Minnesota and some other local schools to set up a pilot to actually destroy the PFAS within the biosolids itself. So we're excited to, there's a lot of talk about PFAS and a lot of concern, and I get that. However, we got to do things and try things to address that and find ways to treat it and not just kind of talk about it all the time. So we're acting. Again, another example of what St. Cloud is doing. And we've got some great information on our website about all of our PFAS work if anyone wants to take a look at it.
Excellent, excellent. You didn't talk much about recycling. Does much of what you're doing and all of the various aspects end up reducing your landfill mass or not?
Yeah, so one other exciting project that we're working at, we don't apply any of our material that we treat to landfills. We beneficially reuse 100% of the material that comes to us. However, we are looking into this really exciting food waste to energy project. So we trialed it last summer, and basically from like large prisons or school districts or hospitals, or even just hospitals, Costco's, the Sam's Clubs, or, grocery stores, all of that material that is in packages that goes to a landfill, because I believe the numbers are over 20% in our landfills is from food waste. And so we put a trial, and was called a depackager, and it took out all the cans, the plastics, everything, and created this food slurry. And so you have a mix of anything from old chickens to cans of chili to and mix it all into this beautiful slurry that we fed to our digesters and created energy. And we were very, very, very happy with the results from our pilot, and we're now working on the feasibility study to move forward with a potential full-scale food waste recovery. And we feel like we want to start with the large folks that are using all of this packaged product and wasted product and putting that in a landfill. And then we'd like to incorporate more of a residential food waste collection program into it, because that's a whole different system that we'll have to set up. But that's another area that we're looking into.
Kay wants to know what you do with the captured carbon. I don't know
Right
if you
now-
covered that or not.
Yeah, so we're just working on preliminary. We've got a couple grant applications. We're actually working with a different country to apply for some grant funds from the UK to do carbon capture on our generator exhaust. And we would create materials such as building materials like a concrete material and things like that, that we can completely capture the carbon. So we're in really early stages of that, but just applying for some grant funding for that.
Leanne wants to know if hydrogen fuel destroys water, and if it's widely adopted, will that not eventually decrease the amount of water on the planet? Might have missed part of that cycle there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you've got the water, and it just is split up into hydrogen and oxygen, but hydrogen is, I think it's 74% of all the matter in the entire world. So I think would be okay as far as capturing that and converting that and separating that. It's a different form. It's not like we're getting rid of it altogether. It's just a different form.
I don't think you talked about this much, but could you reiterate what you're doing to protect the river from runoff and other pollutants? I've been reading that the Mississippi is significantly challenged. I would like to speak to that just briefly. The
Yeah.
upper Mississippi, from north of Iowa particularly, is actually pretty clean. And people don't understand that. It's further down when we get all of the crop runoff. But again, you were pointing out that you're using fertilizer to go back onto crop fields. So how are you protecting the river from runoff?
Yeah. So two things, our utility, specifically about the runoff from our biosolids material that we inject into the field. So everything is injected, and I would say out of everything we do across the whole city, our biosolids program is the most highly regulated. So we are very, very careful about our application rate. So it's based off our nitrogen concentration. So what the crop is going to be. We calculate what that crop's going to uptake. So there should be no runoff ever with our application program whatsoever. And in addition, we don't do surface application. We do all injection into the soil itself. But also, in addition to the biosolid side of things, we have a very, very progressive, proactive stormwater utility program. So we do a lot of work, especially on the education side, because there's so many people out there that think that everything that goes down the storm catch basins goes to a treatment facility, and 99.9% does not in the whole United States. And so I think that's something that people, we do storm drain art program. So we get it into the schools, we go into the elementary schools and do education. We're doing education. We do a fun storm to the brewery. So we end up getting some adults that are interested in it, and we kind of teach them. And we have adopt a drain program that we do. So we do a significant amount of stormwater education to try to really let everyone know that it doesn't just go to a treatment facility, that what you do, whatever is going down is what goes into the Mississippi River. So
Regarding solar, Stephen wants to know, are you using batteries, or are you using all of your energy you're getting from the sun daily? I think you talked a little bit about that, and he wants to also know if you've researched vertical solar.
we haven't done too much on the vertical solar side of things. However, with the question related to, are we using 100% and do we have batteries? We don't have batteries. That's one thing that we're excited about the green hydrogen piece of it, is that actually the green hydrogen can be used like a battery. It can be stored and then you can send it to where you need to be. Instead, where solar, if you're not using it, where there's times, especially at wastewater, because we have a significant amount of solar at that facility. So there's times that we're producing more than what our facility needs. So instead of just ramping down our panels and our production, we're able to use that energy and create the hydrogen fuel and store that and use that as kind of like our battery.
Buff wants to know what percentage of the carbon zero goal is met by the hydroelectric for cities that do not have access to hydroelectric. Do you think it's possible to reach carbon zero?
For our community,
So the carbon zero goal is met by the hydroelectric.
yeah, I mean, our community, so as a city, we use about 30 million kilowatt hours a year to provide city services. Our hydro generation facility produces 60 million kilowatt hours on average, depending on the year, of course. It's very weather dependent. So as a community, we wouldn't be able to cover and be carbon neutral just with our hydro facility. So it's a part, but it wouldn't be near enough. We have to take advantage of like the utility providers, with the clean. There's been quite a bit of legislator coming through at all different states, at all different levels, as far as what percentage from the grid, from the electrical grid, needs to be coming from renewable energy. In Minnesota, they're at 2040, 100%, I believe, needs to come from renewable energy. And I think our main utility provider here is already at 57% renewable. So we're not that far away on the electrical side to be carbon neutral. It's going to be the transportation sector and the heating, because it's electrifying all of our heating is not the answer. That's my personal belief. I think you have to diversify and you have to look at different energy sources. And that's why hydrogen, I think, is something that we should truly be looking at. If the natural gas pipeline can already take 20%, why we could cut 20% right there by producing clean hydrogen.
Have you looked at wind energy?
We have looked at some wind energy. We've done some studies. We haven't done any recent ones. Probably about 8 years ago is the last study we've done, and it's just the payback was pretty high on that. So we chose not to go in that direction. But there's so much advancement in technology on the wind side too, that we're definitely going to be digging into that again.
Somebody wants to know about increasing weather extremes, and will that affect you, like drought and flood? And we're all very much aware right now of what's happening in California.
Right.
So how do you address those in terms of when you decide what to do next?
Yeah, we're really actually applying for quite a few climate resiliency grants right now. We've been seeing a lot of those extreme events here in Minnesota and central Minnesota as well. Obviously, drought last year, and the year before, we ended up getting significant drought. And then parts of the year, early in the year, we've got these huge rainfall events that cause massive flooding in certain areas. We're fortunate enough on the Mississippi River, the location that we're in a lot of bluffs in our area. So we're protected, but we still have a lot of issues that we're working through to try to address that. And that's really looking at our storm shed and our storm sewer shed and kind of looking at better ways to handle that.
Geraldine wants to know, is it good or bad to dispose of fruits and vegetables in an incinerator? It sounds to me like all of your wastewater is going through this process, right?
Correct, correct. So I highly recommend if you can do composting, even if you can do composting in your facility at your home or in your backyard or what you want to do. I mean, you can put it down and it does provide food and nutrients for our microorganisms that break down the wastewater. However, it increases our energy demand because the more food, the more carbon materials are flushed down the drain. If it's going straight to our liquid processing side and not to our digesters, we don't have separate piping for the water, right? It all comes in the same pipe. So it does cost more and takes more energy if you do use those incinerators in your garbage disposals that people have. I don't use it.
A lot of questions revolving around how you can help other cities. Certainly this presentation I know is one way, but I'm sure you're getting requests from other cities. So as part of your work, is that part of what you're doing is sharing what your knowledge, your information, your strategic plan? Because many of the questions are, how can I do this at home? And how can we fight the resistance? How can we find the money? Although I think you've spoken directly to right now, there's a lot of money available for climate issues, resilience, sustainability. But do you have, as part of your work, outreach?
Yeah, I mean, everything that you said there, Mary Ellen, is, we try to get our word out. We try to share as much as we can, open our facility to any amount of tours possible. We try to get press releases out. We have expansive amount of information on our city's website. We try to, we apply for a lot of awards. You'll see us being a lot of awards. And at first, I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't a big award person because I just felt, I don't know, it was kind of egotistic or something along that line. I just didn't like it. I'm Midwestern, you guys all are, it's like, we just don't like to talk about ourselves, but I did notice that getting the award applications out, once we started getting the awards, we got more press and we got more people learning about what we're doing. And I really saw the positive impact that it's had on other communities because we're able to get the word out through those awards. In fact, we've been recognized on a global level for quite a few awards and national level and those type of things. So that really helps too. So I would recommend people apply for awards. I never used to be that way, but I definitely think that helps get the word out. And just talk about it with people. I mean, I think a lot of people don't like talking about wastewater and what it can do and other, I mean, I think you can get a lot of support by just learning the opportunities that are out there. But yeah, we're open. I have an incredible team that I get to work with every single day. So anybody that wants to reach out and, have meetings with your local agencies, we do that all the time. So we're more than welcome to do that.
That leads us to what I'm going to call as our final question, because we're pressing up against the hour. But people are interested in how big your staff is. Did you have to hire additional staff in the city? Are there new positions? Do you have a sustainability coordinator or some similar position? How did this impact the size of city government?
It's a great question. And actually, we have not increased any of our number of employees. However, they have redirected what they're working on. So we kind of prioritized what they're working on. For example, we do have just recently retitled. She used to be our public services analyst, and her name is Liz Kramer, and she did a lot of our energy management tracking, which we needed to do anyway, and every organization should be doing to be financially and fiscally responsible, is monitoring all your energy use. For example, we're a large city, so we have over 450 electric meters within our city, so we needed to have someone grasp that. and understand the usage and the potential there. So she ended up working a lot more, and now we retitled her as sustainability coordinator. So she helps a lot with the public education outreach, the monitoring. It helps out with projects, grant applications. However, for the most part, all of us we added more duties onto our plate, which typically happens, right? But you know what, when you really enjoy what you do and you're passionate about what you do, I mean, I think people are on board with that and they see the impact that they're making, and that motivates them to do that. So.
Tracy Hodel, thank you so much. I will tell you right now, we've never had so many questions on any of our webinars. This was people were very, very interested in this topic. And I will confess that when it was brought forward, I said, I had no idea what this presentation was going to be about. So I'm really pleased that you could join us. I want to also thank Judy Foster from the St. Cloud League of Women Voters for finding you for us. Thank you, Judy, for that. Again, a reminder that this webinar, including the Q&A, were recorded, and everyone who attended today will receive a link to that recording. It will also be on our website. I do encourage you to take a look at our website, Upper Mississippi River Region. We have a lot of information there about our work. We work on not only the Mississippi, but the entire watershed, but our focus, of course, is in the upper part of the river. And we hope that you will follow our webinars. They're open to anyone to sign up for. You can sign up to be on our invite list. This is a big effort. As I said earlier, we only cover the 5 states in the upper Mississippi River, but we are a member of the Mississippi River Network, which includes all 10 states on the river. We understand that water goes downhill, and everything we do up here affects everyone downstream. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again, Tracy and Judy.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Gretchen. Hopefully she's turning off the recording.